You know how earlier when I talked about people buying for emotional reasons first and then logic after that? Well, a lot of copywriters when they're starting out think that the only emotions they have to tap into are fear and greed. I'm afraid I'm going to lose money, or I want a lot of money. So you want to stimulate several emotions in your copy so you can reach more prospects more deeply. Here's a quote I love about that. So Emma felt frightened, apprehensive, yes, but also elated and excited. Her feelings all tumbled and mixed together like a stew of varied ingredients tossed into the same pot. That's from Helen Hollick, who wrote The Forever Queen. So we're all like that, right? We all have several emotions going on at once. And when it comes to your product or service, that's probably true as well. So when you're writing copy, you do want to tap into a power emotion and a strong feeling within your prospect that moves him to action. But it may be a mix of emotions, not just one, although one might be dominant. Any of these can be a power emotion. Let's go through them very quickly because this is basically your toolbox to think about when you're trying to tap into emotion with a big idea or a headline. So we have curiosity, optimism, laziness, anger, patriotism, annoyance, disgust, guilt, confusion, altruism, which is great in the nonprofit world, benevolence, again, nonprofit, boredom, sadness, pride, whimsy, surprise, shyness, indifference can even be an emotion, wit, exhaustion, happiness, pessimism, desperation, love, envy, lust, fear, stupidity, insecurity, complacence, revenge, passion, loneliness, sympathy, embarrassment, vanity, or confidence. And that's not all of them, but these are 37 copywriting emotions that you can tap into when you're thinking about how am I going to stir the emotion of this prospect for my product. Now, to help you identify a core buying emotion, which might be that most prominent or dominant one, we have a 3-step buying tier here, where the emotion that you stir is going to create a desire for that solution you offer, and then the action to buy it, if your copy guides them through that way. So you want to strike that emotion. It's something that they've been thinking about and dealing with, and then you want to create desire to solve it or achieve it. So if there's a problem they're struggling with, they're weighed down with the emotions related to that. Or if there's a goal they're trying to achieve, they think about it all day long. So what can you tap into that makes them go, I finally know how to achieve it? And that's where you lead them to action. So start with your prospect's core complex. We talked about when you create that avatar, that complete picture of a profile, you look at their beliefs, which is their attitudes toward a product or category that you're in, of course. The feelings, are they confident about their position in this related category, or are they nervous or fearful? And then the desires, what dreams or goals or hopes do they have that they want to achieve or overcome? So that core complex is a complex mix of emotions, each with different beliefs, feelings, and desires. But basically, when you're researching the prospect and the product, these will come to you. What is the thing that people want most to either overcome or achieve? So it might be obvious or undetectable, but what you write will strike at their core because it's something that they deeply care about, and your copy is tapping that. So here we have, it's funny, I wrote this quite a while ago for a Maine wedding planner, and I asked her, what is the biggest thing you find when talking to new clients? And she said, well, it's not the bride, it's the mother of the bride, who I need to appease and make sure she's happy because she's the one hovering over the process and worrying about all the details. So I said, well, what does it look like when you help them? And they said, well, I become the mother of the bride. And she actually, I'm not showing it here, but she positioned herself with a tagline, the official mother of the bride. And so the headline is this: relax. You've just found a stress-free way to plan a beautiful romantic Maine wedding. Stress-free being the key phrase there. Because wedding planning, as we all know, can be extremely stressful for the bride and the mother of the bride. So the secret to a memorable Maine wedding is in finding the right wedding planner in Maine. So the emotions are many when it comes to planning a wedding, right? But we've tried to tap into that with just breathe, relax. It's going to be okay. It's going to be fantastic, in fact. So So that's the emotions we were tapping into there. So your strategy is to look at the non-rational, right-brained, emotional side of things when you're thinking, how does my product really make a difference? Contemplate those abstract beliefs, feelings, desires until they almost physically manifest themselves in your copy and your product and how you feel about it and how you want to talk about it, as if you were in a coffee shop or a bar with a friend and you're like, you can't wait to tell them about this because it's going to make a difference. Now here is a great example of this doctor who created a baby calming method that is pretty revolutionary. It went crazy in viral shares because it seemed to be amazing, where how to calm a crying baby, he demonstrates the hold. It's called the hold. And he puts the baby face down on his arm and gently rocks the baby. And that facing down somehow seems to calm the baby and stop it from crying. But the ultimate benefit is you're saving the fretful new mom. I remember when I had my first child, they just go, here it is, go home, good luck. And you're like, I don't know what to do, I won't stop crying, I don't know what to do. And every new parent goes through that I don't know what to do phase. They feel helpless, they feel like they're torturing their child. This guy's video just saved the fretful parent. So think about that level of emotion when you're writing about your product or service. Let's try it together with the persona we went through earlier, Frank, who's our skeptic. He is concerned about heart disease. He's had some scares and he's really, trying to find a solution, although he still hates the medical field. He wants to see what he can figure out as a solution that he'll take himself. So what are the questions Frank would be asking? And what is his core complex? I think we know from that avatar we went through earlier that his core complex is distrust. He's cynical. He's been burned, or he doesn't believe what doctors are telling him, and he doesn't even go, and he kind of sneaks the diabetes medicine on the side. So you can get a picture of what his emotions might be. There's definitely cynicism at the core, but there's also hope and fear. He hopes he can find something. He's afraid he's going to not find the right solution, and he's worried about his longevity, frankly. So you take all of that, the cynic, the skeptic, all of those things, and you think, what is his core buying emotion? Let's think about this. What worries him the most? Is it dying? Is it possibly having to deal with medical bills he can't afford to pay? Is it his family's worry? Is it medication side effects? Maybe financial security for his family if something should happen to him? Drug effectiveness, will it even work? What you might find is that there's no one answer. You can try any of these to test copy and see what resonates the most. So you might write a headline that talks about his fear of dying or not being there for his grandchildren. That's one. You might try something different that talks about embarrassment. He'd be embarrassed if he could have found the answer but didn't bother. You could have a different headline that talks about loss. The sad truth is you're going to lose out if you don't do this. Or his family's worry or burden. He's going to burden his family with things like bills and pain and dealing with a funeral. So it could be any one of these, and maybe each one of these works when dealt with in a certain way. So it's up to you really with your product or service to try some different dominant emotions, but all the research up to now will help you get to, pinpointing 2 or 3. To identify the core emotion, try the so what technique that we used on identifying a deeper benefit. Let's walk through that with a Volvo. As we all probably know, the Volvo has this patented frame that makes it super solid, and it often has been at the top of the crash test ratings because of that. But you say, so what? What does that mean? So what that means is you'll get to your destination while keeping your family safe. So what? Well, it means you're being a responsible, good parent, of course, and dependable hero. That's the ultimate. But you know what the real ultimate is? You could save a life, as that they use in their copy. Here's a neat product I found online, and I tried the so what game with this because I'd never heard of it and I really didn't know what it did. It's called the Kingy Wearable, and it's an inflatable mini airbag that pulls you to the water surface if you're wearing it and you can't get out of the water. You're stuck underneath for some reason. You basically just hit something and it puffs up and brings you to the surface. So what? Well, it's stored in your wristband, so it's small and easy to use. So what? Well, you're more likely to use it because it's less bulky than a big, huge personal flotation device. You won't be looking like a dork, and it's actually going to be used, okay? So what? Well, it actually might save you from drowning, and they talk about that a lot in their copy. So it's a really cool new device I'd never heard of. Kept asking the so what. Watch the video, which shows how easy it is to use, and it literally could save more lives. All right, now I want you to meet Rebecca Matter. She's the president of AWAI, and incredible copywriter as well, and even more, a real champion of great copy and helping copywriters succeed. She says another way to find the core emotion is to visit online chat rooms or forums or social platforms. Find out what they're saying and how they say it. Then you can tap into those emotional hot buttons and words that they use. And if you're writing a health topic, for example, visit the message boards on WebMD. People are spilling their guts out on these forums, and you can find wonderful copy points and emotions, especially on those platforms. To bring more of this home for you, now we're going to look in the next video at some examples of the core buying emotion.